Yo, it's Faulku Black, Heroes of the Carter Guild, and this right here is called Momentum Mondays. We're going to change the name up. We used to call it Motivational Mondays, but that's a little cliche one now. I want to give you guys something that's going to drive you guys, that's going to motivate you guys to keep going forward, keep pushing past your limits. So we're going to call this Momentum Mondays because this is going to be your momentum every single week as you tune in to keep you going in a positive direction. So earlier today, So earlier this week on Monday, I dropped a quick, Momentum Monday quote, and it was from Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. A couple of you guys probably watched that show, whatnot. The difference between the master and the student is the master failed more times than the student. Another way of saying it, the difference between the teacher and the novice is the teacher has failed more times than the novice.
To win, one has to lose. The difference between the novice and the master is that the master has failed more times than the novice has tried.
I gave you guys a little explanation of what that means. Long story short, that basically means that the teacher, the one that's teaching you the ways of life, teaching you what you want to be successful at now, before they got to the mountaintop, before they got to where they're at right now, what they did is they had to fail numerous times, trials and errors, things that they couldn't do right to a point that they perfected it. And now they're trying to pass on their knowledge to you and whatnot. So you can't get frustrated that you're failing at the moment. So we're going to talk about that right now. What's one reason why we fail? One reason why we fail is obvious. It's something that we're new at, something that we're not familiar with. So if it's something that we're new with and we're not familiar with, we're going to fail at it because we don't know how to engage in that specific activity. And that's one of the positive things that come along with failure. Eventually, over time, when you get used to what you're doing, you'll start to know that that's the process and you'll move in a positive direction. There's another reason why we tend to fail. And another reason why we tend to fail is what's called a learned helplessness approach. For any of my psych majors, anybody that's familiar with a background in psychology, they know that learned helplessness is an approach in which we develop when we tend to not get what we want, or we tend to have more failures than we have successes. And then when we do have success, we tend to blame that success on either luck and any aspect like that. And if anybody watched Eric Thomas, they know that luck is for leprechauns and you ain't green. So we're not going to develop a learned helplessness approach, and we're going to understand that if we're starting something new, it's a part of the process. And we know that that's not going to mean we're failures. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be successful. It just means that we just started the grind. And it's baby steps. Just like a baby, we're starting. It's baby steps. Eventually we're going to walk. We're climbing up the stairs. Everything we do, we have to think of it in a motion of moving in a positive direction and not in a negative direction. Like climbing stairs, such as baby steps. Everything you want to do, being on top of the mountain. Everything that we're going to talk about on Momentum Mondays is always going to be talking about moving in a positive direction and not in a negative direction. So we talked about two reasons for why you can fail. We talked about two reasons for why one failed. One reason being such as they're novice at it and they have to just go through trials and errors until they can get to that point, as well as a learned helplessness approach. And I'm talking to you guys today to know that the trial and error approach is a part of the process that will help you get to the success and where you want to go to. Next thing is how to overcome. I just talked to you guys about that in that aspect too. What we want to do is overcome. This is adversity that's going to hit at any time. Even when you become successful at something, you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Me, I played college football, I played high school football, and I had good days and had bad days. I had a couple of awards and whatnot, but there was times when I went out there and I ain't performing my best. But I'm not going to let that dictate that I'm now a horrible football player in any of those aspects. I have to understand that that's an off day that I had, and if I want to make sure that I don't have that off day again, I have to go back into the hyperbolic time gym. I have to go back into the drawing board and know that whatever mistakes that I made, I can't make those mistakes anymore, so I can move in a positive direction. No, I'm not only talking to my anime fans right now. I'm talking to my anime fans. I'm talking to my football players. I'm talking to anybody that's struggling with motivation and struggling to move in a positive direction. This message is for you, and I hope that you can share this message with somebody that's struggling with adversity, that's developing a learned helplessness approach, and somebody that just needs an edge to push forward, push past their limits. As I said before, the difference between the teacher and the student is the teacher failed more times than the student did. You're struggling right now. You're going through adversity. You could be on a losing team right now. You could be struggling, paying bills, or anything like that because you're not financially stable in those aspects. But that's a part of the failure that's going to push you in the right direction of what you have to do to be successful in this world. So deal with the adversity. The adversity is going to make you stronger. It doesn't matter if it's in cartoon format. Goku's not going to turn Super Saiyan without adversity. Tanjiro's not going to master that breathing form without adversity. In any of these aspects, all these anime is going to show you is about somebody overcoming adversity, and they're not just going to take any handouts. Let's watch the OP show. But we're not talking about the OP show. Majority of the anime that you watch, take a moment to watch the storyline and see how this person starts from the ground up, such as going through adversity, going through trials and errors over and over and over again. Perfect example, Naruto. He was a novice at one time, now he's the Hokage of this show through hard work and dedication and trial and error, and not developing a learned helplessness approach. I hope this motivational Monday message helped you guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Heroes of the Carter Guild, as well as our Instagram, as well as our Facebook, as well as our Twitter. And that's all I got for you guys today. Like I always say, not giving up is our magic powers, like it should be your magic powers.